The morning sun had begun to stretch its first golden fingers across the jungle canopy, spilling light through the dense layers of green. Each leaf shimmered with dew, catching the fragile brilliance of dawn as if the entire forest were holding its breath. High above, in a nest woven of sticks and soft feathers, a young eagle opened its eyes to the new day. Its wings, still small and trembling, twitched with curiosity. The nest rocked gently in the breeze, and the eagle leaned forward, stretching its talons along the rim, testing its balance. The world below seemed vast and unknowable, a sea of green that rustled with life on the shadows beneath the canopy. A troop of chimpanzees moved through the underbrush, their limbs swinging with practiced ease. Tiny hands brushed leaves aside, and soft chatter echoed across the forest floor. One chimp paused to inspect a brightly colored flower, while another discovered a cluster of insects scuttling along the bark of a tree. Their laughter and playful calls blended seamlessly with the buzz of cicadas and the distant cry of howler. Monkeys, a symphony of life in a forest that had known no quiet. For a moment, it seemed the world existed only in the joy of small creatures, each living its simple, vital rhythm. The baby eagle cocked its head, its dark eyes following a butterfly as it flitted past the nest. The fragile bird stretched its wings again, feathers ruffling in the soft wind, and tested a lift that carried only a fraction of its weight. The nest creaked under its movement, a subtle reminder of the fragile perch it called home. The eagle's small heart fluttered with excitement and apprehension. It did not yet understand the dangers of the forest below, the sharp claws of snakes, the swift strikes of predatory mammals, the sudden plunge of leaves hiding a lurking shadow. It only knew the pull of the wind and the thrill of stretching its wings, of feeling the pulse of the morning air. Below, the chimpanzees moved closer to the base of the tree, their eyes bright with curiosity. A young chimp, smaller than the others, stopped abruptly and stared upward, its gaze locking on the trembling figure above. It was fascinated by the bird's delicate movements, its tiny frame teetering on the edge of the nest. The chimp's fingers twitched as if it wanted to reach out, but instinct restrained it. The memory of their troop's rules echoing silently: do not climb too high, do not disturb what is not yours. The forest seemed to hum in anticipation, a quiet tension threading between leaf and branch, wind and wing. A sudden gust of wind swept through the canopy, rattling the nest and sending a scattering of leaves into the air. The eagle flinched, its wings fluttering wildly as it tried to regain balance. For a heartbeat, the forest was suspended in silence, the gentle hum of insects fading under the soft roar of the wind. Shadows stretched across the ground as the sun moved behind a bank of clouds, and for a moment, the baby eagle felt the strange, terrifying thrill of instability. It teetered, talons gripping the rim with all the strength it could muster, feathers lifting as though the air itself were conspiring to test its courage. In the underbrush, the young chimp's chest rose and fell with tension. It inched forward, on all fours, eyes locked on the nest, aware of the fragile life above. A leaf cracked underfoot, sharp and loud, and the eagle startled, wings snapping outward instinctively. The nest tipped slightly, and the small bird swayed, claws scraping the woven branches. Heartbeats echoed as the forest seemed to lean closer, leaning in to watch, to witness a moment that teetered on the edge between safety and disaster. The eagle's tiny body stiffened. The world beneath it looked impossibly far away, a mosaic of shadow and light, alive with the potential for danger. Time slowed, each second stretching into eternity as the eagle shifted its weight. A snake flickered between the roots of the trees below, a monitor lizard skittered along the forest floor, and birds that had sung a moment before fell silent. Even the wind seemed to pause, holding its breath along with the creatures of the forest. The chimpanzee froze, sensing the tension but unable to predict the outcome. Its gaze never left the small feathered body above, a mixture of awe and fear rooting it to the earth. Somewhere deep in the forest, life held its breath, the morning suspended on the fragile thread of a fledgling's balance. Then it happened. A final, subtle shift. The nest rocked harder, the gust of wind stronger than before. The eagle teetered once more, claws scraping desperately against the rim. Its wings, trembling with effort, lifted and flailed in a frantic attempt to stabilize. And then, gravity claimed it. The small bird pitched forward, falling out of the nest in a silent, terrifying arc. The forest seemed to exhale in shock, a rustle of leaves and a whisper of wind accompanying the descent. The eagle's wings flapped desperately, instinct guiding its body, but it was too small, too inexperienced. The fall carried it closer to the forest floor, toward the unseen dangers lurking in the undergrowth. The young chimp leaped forward instinctively, hooting in alarm, but it was too far below to intervene. The troop froze, calls caught in throats, eyes wide and unblinking as they watched the fragile life plummet. Leaves and branches blurred past the eagle as it fell, feathers catching the light in fleeting flashes of white and brown. The world, above, so full of wonder and promise just moments ago, now threatened to become a trap. The insect's hum returned faintly, and the air seemed thick with expectation. the silence punctuated only by the soft rush of air against feathers. At the last moment before the forest floor, the eagle twisted instinctively, wings spread wide. The underbrush rushed toward it, vines and roots forming a confusing maze of green. The baby eagle's sharp eyes, so young and untested, scanned the world rapidly, searching for something to break its fall. The canopy's dappled light fell across its small body as the descent slowed, a heartbeat stretched into infinity. Below, the forest floor awaited, and the jungle seemed to lean closer, whispering secrets of survival, danger, and resilience. And then the eagle landed. Not with the grace of mastery, not yet, but with the trembling, fragile bravery of one who has fallen and must now rise. Its tiny claws caught on a tangle of vines, wings beating weakly against the weight of gravity, eyes wide with both fear and wonder. The forest held its breath around it, waiting for what would come next, the underbrush shivering with the presence of predators, the rustle of wings, the soft unspoken connection between watcher and fallen. Somewhere nearby, the young chimp stared upward, aware of the drama that had just unfolded and feeling the first sparks of an unexpected empathy that would change the rhythm of the forest. High above, sunlight pierced through gaps in the canopy, scattering light across leaves and branches, painting the scene in fleeting gold. The baby eagle shivered, fragile, alone, and yet not entirely helpless. The jungle waited, alive with possibility, for the next move, for the first instinct, for the courage that might yet emerge from this fragile, feathered body somewhere in the forest. Life continued its relentless dance. But in this small clearing, in this fragile heartbeat of time, the story had begun. The calm of morning had ended, replaced by suspense and the promise of struggle. And somewhere in the shadows, a young chimpanzee's eyes followed every movement. The first threads of an unexpected bond beginning to weave themselves between species, fragile but unbroken. Rain had begun to fall, first in gentle patters on the leaves, then in heavy sheets that drummed against the forest floor with relentless urgency. The baby eagle clung to a tangled mass of vines and thorny branches, its small wings beating frantically against the unyielding green. Each movement sent sharp, wet leaves rustling and vines creaking under its weight. The ground below seemed impossibly far, yet perilously close, a maze of mud, roots, and waiting predators. The eagle's dark eyes widened with fear as it sensed the forest shifting around it. A snake slid silently through the wet underbrush, its tongue flicking like a shadow of intent. A monitor lizard, alerted by the sudden motion, slithered closer, glistening scales flashing as it surveyed this unexpected opportunity. Somewhere in the distance, the soft padding of paws hinted at a stalking mammal, unseen but undeniably aware. The young chimpanzee, who had first glimpsed the fallen bird, froze on a thick branch above, chest rising and falling rapidly. Its small hands clutched the bark, knuckles white, torn between fear and curiosity. The troop around it had retreated, higher into the canopy, their calls replaced by tense, cautious silence. The jungle seemed to hold its breath, the usual chorus of insects and birds muffled under the weight of rain and uncertainty. Every second stretched, and the chimp watched the tiny eagle struggle, wings flailing, talons snagged painfully in the vines. The more it observed, the more a strange, urgent empathy grew in its chest. A pull toward protecting the fragile creature even as instinct whispered danger. The rain intensified, a sudden deluge that transformed the forest floor into a slippery, treacherous expanse. Mud formed pools between the roots, making even the smallest branches slick with water. The baby eagle slipped repeatedly, feathers slicked with rain, eyes wide with panic. Its frantic flapping stirred more leaves and debris, drawing the attention of predators that had so far remained hidden. A snake paused, tongue flicking, calculating the ease of a quick strike. The monitor lizard paused, poised to advance. The jungle, alive with sound and movement, now seemed threatening, the very elements conspiring against the fallen fledgling. The young chimp hesitated no longer. With careful, deliberate movements, it descended from its branch, limbs stretching cautiously as it navigated the wet vines. Each step required focus, each branch a potential misstep that could send it tumbling into the dangers below. Its eyes never left the eagle, and with each inch it gained, the chimp's chest heaved, a mix of adrenaline and apprehension. The rest of the troop watched silently from above, some craning necks, others gripping branches with anxious tension. The forest seemed to lean in closer, every drop of rain, every rustle of leaf magnified in this suspended, dangerous moment. Finally, the chimp reached the tangle where the eagle had landed. It crouched low, spreading its small body as a protective shield. The baby eagle, sensing the presence of the chimp, flinched at first, claws scraping against the wet vines. But the chimp remained still, careful not to startle the fragile creature, its eyes soft with an unspoken reassurance. The rain continued to pound down, but the chimp's body offered a temporary barrier against the cold and the chaos. In that instant, predator and prey instincts were momentarily suspended, replaced by a bond forged in the crucible of fear. Predators approached cautiously, emboldened by the vulnerability of the small bird. The snake slithered closer, muscles coiling, tongue flicking. The monitor advanced, claws scraping wet roots. Even a shadow of a wildcat paused at the edge of the clearing, evaluating the easiest path. The chimp shifted slightly, hands braced on the ground, body low and tense, ready to act, to push, to shield. Rain plastered its fur, soaked through to the skin beneath, but it remained unwavering. Every instinct screamed retreat, yet compassion, something primal and deep, held it in place. The forest itself seemed to pulse with suspense, leaves trembling, water dripping from every branch, as if aware of the delicate life suspended in this storm. The baby eagle flapped again, wings weak but determined, eyes bright with terror and trust. It began to inch closer to the chimp, talons gripping slick vines, feathers trembling from effort and rain. The chimp adjusted its body, creating a small corridor, a path to safety. Its movements deliberate and slow, every action measured to avoid harm. The forest around them seemed to fade. The rain and predator still present but distant in comparison to the fragile connection forming between species. In that small clearing, amid the chaos of survival, a silent understanding took shape. Courage could exist without strength, empathy without speech. Minutes felt like hours. The rain poured, the wind tugged at branches. But the eagle slowly gained control of its wings, each beat more confident than the last. The chimp, soaked and exhausted, remained close, its eyes alert, chest rising and falling with each labored breath. Together, they created a fragile sanctuary in the heart of danger. A snake paused mid-approach, seemingly deterred by the chimp's presence. The monitor hesitated, reconsidering its calculated risk. Even the distant shadow of the wildcat seemed to sense the unspoken alliance, waiting for another opportunity, yet held back. Finally, the baby eagle's wings caught the rhythm of the wind more steadily. With a trembling push, it lifted slightly, hovering above the tangle of vines rather than crashing against them. The chimp moved back just enough to give it space, eyes never leaving, ready to intervene if necessary. The forest seemed to exhale in relief, a subtle shift in the wind, a rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird breaking the oppressive tension. Rain still fell, but its rhythm now felt like a heartbeat rather than a threat. At last, the eagle found its balance on a sturdier branch, wings folded but ready to test the air again. It shook off the rain from its feathers, dark eyes scanning the forest with renewed awareness, and for the first time, it seemed to understand the gift of protection it had received. The chimp settled nearby, watching closely, chest heaving, fur plastered with water, a silent sentinel in a forest alive with danger and wonder. The storm began to soften, the rain tapering to a gentle drizzle, sunlight breaking through the clouds in scattered rays. In that fleeting calm, the bond between the two creatures crystallized, a quiet testament to instinct, bravery, and the unexpected depths of empathy. Around them, the forest returned to its usual rhythm. Insects resumed their hum, distant birds sang, and the canopy swayed gently in the wind. Yet within that small clearing, a story had unfolded that no one could unsee. A story of courage against fear, of trust where instinct might have demanded flight, and of connection that transcended species. The young eagle's eyes lingered on the chimp, a silent acknowledgement of survival, a fragile trust that would shape what came next. The forest seemed to pause, savoring the quiet triumph, the rain soft against leaves and fur, the lingering echo of tension released. Somewhere above, the sun broke fully through the clouds, scattering golden light across leaves, vines, and dripping branches. And in that light, the baby eagle rested briefly, wings trembling, body soaked, but heart alive with the first taste of hope. Below, the chimp remained vigilant, alert but calm, the two of them bound in the delicate, unspoken promise of protection that would endure beyond this storm. The rain had stopped, leaving the forest dripping and glistening, each leaf and branch coated in tiny jewels of water that reflected the first golden shafts of sunlight piercing the canopy. The air was thick and sweet with the smell of wet earth and moss, carrying the quiet hum of life slowly returning after the storm. The baby eagle, shivering and drenched, clung weakly to a tangle of vines and branches, its wings trembling with exhaustion. Each feather was heavy with water, and the bird's chest rose and fell in shallow, desperate breaths. Around them the forest seemed to breathe, the gentle sway of trees, the distant calls of returning birds, the soft rustle of leaves, creating a chorus of calm that contrasted sharply with the chaos of hours before. The young chimpanzee approached carefully, moving through the slick branches with deliberate caution. Its eyes never left the fragile bird, dark with fear but flickering with sparks of determination. The chimp's small hands nudged the eagle gently, creating space, guiding it toward a sturdier branch that offered a safer path. Every movement was slow and precise, a dance of trust between species, a silent understanding that the slightest mistake could send both into danger once more. The troop watched from higher branches, their usual chatter replaced by an awful stillness. Even the youngest chimps, normally full of play and mischief, seemed to sense the significance of the moment, observing quietly as the baby eagle struggled to regain its strength. The eagle flapped its wings weakly, testing their weight. The first attempts were awkward, tremulous movements that barely lifted it above the branch. Rain still dripped from leaves and clung to feathers, weighing it down. Yet instinct propelled the fledgling forward. The chimpanzee leaned slightly closer, not touching but offering encouragement in the way only another living being can. A quiet presence that radiated safety and protection. The forest seemed to lean into every leaf, vine, and branch, attentive. The quiet witness to courage and survival that had played out in the storm. A distant bird called sharply, and the sound echoed across the canopy. A reminder that life continues even amid fragile, fleeting moments of vulnerability. Minutes passed in this delicate balance. The eagle stretched its wings again, longer, stronger, testing the air. The chimpanzee shifted slightly, giving room, its gaze steady and alert, ready to act if the forest's dangers returned. Slowly, the fledgling began to rise, one wing then the other, tremulous but determined. A drop of water slid down its beak, and it shook its head, feathers flicking outward like small sunlit banners. Somewhere in the undergrowth, a snake paused. A monitor lizard froze mid-step, but the forest's tense energy had shifted. The predators seemed to sense the change, recognizing the fragile alliance between chimpanzee and eagle, and slowly withdrew into shadows and leaves. The chimpanzee watched with rapt attention as the eagle began to balance more confidently on the hidden branch. Once the site of its nest, its fragile wings extended fully now, catching golden light, each beat measured and cautious. For the first time, the baby eagle appeared less like a helpless creature and more like a fledgling learning the ways of its world, ready to claim a second chance at life. The chimpanzee remained close, a silent guardian, eyes scanning for threats, body taut with a quiet readiness. The troop observed from above, their fascination mingled with relief, a communal witness to the courage displayed by both predator and protector in the quiet aftermath of a storm. Then, with a trembling push, the eagle lifted off, wings stretched wide, feathers shining in the shafts of sunlight. The bird rose above the tangle of vines and branches, hovering briefly before catching the rhythm of the wind. Its flight was uneven, uncertain, but filled with determination, each wing beat a testament to survival. The chimpanzee remained below, chest rising and falling with relief and awe, watching as the tiny bird gained height, moving toward a more secure perch. The forest seemed to exhale, a collective sigh of admiration and wonder at the fragile miracle unfolding. Leaves glittered with rain, shafts of light dancing across the forest floor like scattered stars. And in that moment, the world felt suspended, held in quiet reverence for life itself. The eagle rose higher, wings steadying with newfound confidence. It circled above the troop, gliding past branches, talons flexing, eyes sharp and clear. The chimpanzee craned its neck upward, watching every motion, heart pounding with pride and relief. The troop below began to move again, chatter resuming softly, a tentative celebration of survival. Even the trees seemed to relax, branches swaying gently in the breeze, leaves glimmering in the morning light. The forest had survived the storm, and in its heart, so had the fragile, determined creatures who had clung to life through fear, rain, and uncertainty. The eagle finally returned to the branch closest to the original nest. Balancing carefully but fully in control of its wings, it shook off the last of the rain, feathers flicking outward, wings flexing in preparation for the next flight. The chimpanzee remained nearby, a silent sentinel, offering protection without intrusion, an unexpected ally forged in the crucible of survival. A soft rustle from the canopy marked the return of the forest's rhythm, birds flitting through branches, insects beginning their gentle hum, the sun fully illuminating leaves and vines with warm, golden light. The storm's fury had passed, leaving behind only the quiet magic of resilience and trust. For a moment, the baby eagle and the young chimpanzee shared a glance, small eyes meeting dark ones across the space between branch and forest floor. In that unspoken exchange was a recognition of courage, empathy, and survival that words could never capture. The forest around them seemed to pause, honoring the delicate bond formed in the heart of danger. The jungle, ancient and vast, had witnessed countless dramas, yet this small, quiet act of connection felt profound, a testament to the power of compassion and bravery even in the most unlikely places. Slowly, the eagle lifted again, rising above the canopy, wings steady, eyes scanning the endless forest below. The chimpanzee watched from its perch, chest rising and falling, a mix of pride and wonder settling over it. The troop observed quietly, their fascination tempered by respect for the delicate balance of life, danger, and empathy that had just unfolded before them. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, painting the scene in warmth and gold. While the forest's sounds returned fully, birds singing, insects buzzing, leaves rustling in a gentle wind, life had returned to its rhythm, alive and beautiful. Fragile yet endlessly resilient. As the eagle soared higher, the young chimp slowly turned, gazing over the forest floor and beyond, realizing that bravery and compassion could exist in forms it had never imagined. The story of survival, of courage against fear, of empathy that transcended species, had reached its quiet conclusion. The jungle seemed to settle around them, ancient and knowing, full of stories yet untold. A witness to every act of life, death, and the fragile hope that connects them. And in the warmth of the sun, with the forest alive around them, both the eagle and the chimpanzee were forever changed, bound by the storm, the fall, and the unspoken promise that life, though fragile, always finds a way to soar.